Hello, YouTube. Um, oh, uh, no idea how many peeps will come today. Um, now, this was a pre-scheduled live. You know, I did pre-schedule this live, so everyone knows about it. The whole world knows about it. So hopefully, there would be a few people coming to discuss the topic of immigration. I even um, widened it because the last ones I did was purely immigration within the UK, um, and that only got I don't know, 6 or 7 peeps, I think it was, something along that nature. So I decided to widen today's one to immigration in Europe. Now, this is something that should affect, oh gosh, 100 billion people, if not more. And it's certainly a subject that I would assume, that the majority of those people would have something to say on the subject, something to discuss. Hello, Carmen. How are you? Um, so we'll see anyway how many people actually show up. Because, of course, it would be nice to get people's views on this. You know, um, do you agree with the mass immigration? Do you disagree with the mass immigration? Um, if you disagree, what would you wish to do? How can we halt or stop or fix any of the problems from it? What are the problems from it? Do you agree with this mass immigrants who have come to this country who then commit a crime and end up in prison, being, locked up at our expense and then released at our expense? Or should we just deport them? Um, so many other different things to discuss on this topic. So let's just see how many people actually show up. Okay, mixed European. All right. I think I think if you were to look at everybody going far enough back, Carmen, I think we could all say we're mixed at some stage or another. Uh, you know, um, yeah, I think everybody would have some form of mixture within them. Um, as I say, going back far enough. Um, yeah, okay, that's good point, Gary. I, I mean, to a certain extent, I agree, but then to a certain extent, I disagree as well. I think there should be the right for people to move to different countries. But of course, that all depends on the reasons, that they're moving to those different countries, what they do when they get in those different countries, and so on and so forth. Um, if obviously people are moving to different countries just because they've caused loads of problems in the country that they were in, and they're just moving to escape all those problems and come to a new country and commit all those same problems in, then yes, I don't think those sorts of people should be allowed to move from country to country. Obviously not. But then that means we need some sort of control on the movement. Um, Viking DNA, Southern and Northern European. Again, Carmen, yeah, I mean, we've all got, as I say, some sort of mixture in us, I would imagine. Um, 80% at least, if not more, would have some form of mixture. And as I say, if you go back far enough on everybody, then everybody would have a mixture. It's just going back far enough with some people. And I don't know how possible that is with the majority of people. I mean, I think I'd struggle myself to go back, you know, further than 2 or 3 generations. Um, that's the point. It's this is the same thing with Muhammad, of course. Muhammad didn't know his parents. And of course, if you don't know who your parents are, then you can't really go back and past even your one generation. So, and this is the problem with the majority of people, especially, of course, immigrants as well. The vast majority of immigrants who come to the UK haven't got any paperwork. And I think this is a huge problem to begin with. I don't think, personally, that people who turned up here without any paperwork whatsoever should have been let in at all. I think, all of those people should have been turned away at the door, or at least sent back. Um, because the majority of them, okay, you don't know what country of origin they originated from, but you definitely know they got to this country by leaving France. The last country they left was France to get to this country. The majority of the ones who come with no paperwork, and so it's not an impossibility just to send these people back to France and continue to keep sending them back to France. Why we should allow these people in and then have the problem of dealing with these people ourselves is ludicrous. Um, and of course, those people who came here with no paperwork, um, that is the fault of our British government at the moment. Labour is purely at fault for all those people who come here with no paperwork. Because it was the current prime minister, who 20 odd years ago, 23 years ago, under Tony Blair's government, won full benefit rights for all immigrants, legal or illegal. Now, they realised that if they came here as legal immigrants, although they'd still get all the free hotels, the free money, the free phones, and free everything else that all of them get, once they'd been, processed, they'd be found that they were an illegal immigrant and they could be shipped back to their country of origin using their paperwork. They realised if they came here with no paperwork, not only was it impossible for the authorities to process them as an illegal or illegal immigrant because, they had no paperwork, it was also impossible for them to send them back to their country of origin, which under the rules they had to do. Um, and as I say, the country didn't realise that obviously the best way was just to ship them back to France, where they originated from. And of course, at that point, when they realised that not only would they get free everything upon arrival in the UK, they also realised that if on arrival in the UK they arrived with absolutely no paperwork, no identification of any sort whatsoever, um, you know, it was basically years and years and years before the UK could deport them. And then they could, of course, claim asylum because they've been here so long anyway, which is what they all did. Um, and so, as I say, the current mess that we're in at the moment, where the majority of the illegal immigrants, we don't even know where they came from. We have no idea about them or anything. And they're still pouring in by the day without paperwork, is all Keir Starmer's fault. There's no two ways around that. That was all his fault, and it's still his fault because as now the leader of the country, he now has the right to reverse that decision he made 23 years ago and stop all their benefits. And what would happen if all these illegal immigrants who are still pouring into the country without paperwork for all the free benefits realised those free benefits no longer existed? The majority of them wouldn't bother coming no more. Of course, they're not going to climb into a little rubber dinghy to sail across the channel when they're already in France. They would just stay in France. And yet he still won't do that. He goes on and waffles about smashing the gangs, something that you would never ever be able to achieve, because of course once you smash one gang, sorry guest, I didn't notice you'd Joshua, didn't notice that you'd even requested.
Oh,
So busy yakking away to myself.
how are
All
you?
right, Joshua. Yeah, good, good.
Yeah. How come you're not on TikTok?
Banned, don't I?
Oh, on a new account.
Yeah, on a new account. Yeah, I went live on Saturday night. Well, I went live on Friday night to start with on the new account, and because it was a new account, it was a bit slow. And then I went again live on Saturday night, and within minutes of going live, there was a guest requesting to come up. Um, there weren't that many people still in the room because I'd only just started the live. And as soon as the guest came up, he mumbled something that no one could quite understand what he was saying because he was mumbling. And so I asked him to repeat what he'd said. And when he repeated what he said it a lot more clearer. Can I grape you? Um, and then I went on to sort of, eject him from the stage whilst talking to him at the same time. And he was carrying on with his tirade of you fucking this and that and N word and I pressed the end live button. It didn't work. I pressed the end live button. It didn't work. I pressed the end live button a third time, and everything cut out. And I thought, oh, okay, that the end live it's ended then. Finally, the end live button worked and it ended. What I didn't realise is that TikTok had banned it.
Wow. Same,
Literally
same
after
thing.
5 or 6 seconds of the guest coming up on the stage.
Mm.
And
There's,
that's
there's,
even against TikTok's rules. Because TikTok do stay, they don't really say too much about that topic when a guest comes up and does that, but they do say that, the host will be given enough time to either ban or block or get rid of the guest in some other short formal way. And they didn't do that. But anyway, tonight's topic is something completely different anyway. It's immigration. So,
oh, all right then. I'm just wondering, when's your next TikTok live? Because you need to do something. Because you need to do something because if you're not gonna do something, you're gonna keep on getting banned, regardless of your views or anyone's opinions. You still so so.
well,
What needs to change?
there's not a lot one can do about people coming on the stage shouting and swearing, and then within 6 seconds, TikTok banning that. There's not a lot you can do about that because you need at least 6 seconds to either block them and eject them from the stage or end the live.
Mm. But it didn't happen a year ago or so. That in
Well, it doesn't
never.
happen on others like people's lives either. But that's what I say. It's. I think what happened is this wasn't a human moderator. I think this was the automated generator moderator who did it because it was the live was still so early and
Right.
it was so quick. So I'm not sure. I mean, it might have been a human moderator. Obviously, I don't know for certain, but whether it was a human one or the automatic or a generated moderator, whoever it was, they made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's why I say that under their own rules, they state themselves, we will give you enough time to deal with the guest before we end the live. And enough time should be, as I say, at least 30 seconds. They should
Yeah.
give you at least 30 seconds before they end it. They ended this one after 5 seconds, which is definitely not enough time for anyone to, take action. So,
No, it's impossible.
so
What's the new TikTok? Um, and
top
I'm gonna
banana
follow it.
2025.
Oh, I think it's age restricted. Because on my account it's under. I think if you put it on age restricted, I can't view it. So I'm gonna have to go on
Yeah,
my
yeah,
Scala one.
there was an age restriction put on of 18.
Mm. Oh, yeah,
That was
yeah,
to try to keep the trolls away. If you
yeah,
put on these age restrictions, it's not just age restriction. That's what I say. There's also restrictions on a lot of words that might be issued or whatever or said. It blocks all those. So yeah, Because apparently, if I put on all those thousands and thousands of different restrictions, that would help it stop from getting banned. I don't think it matters what I do. I could do anything, and I still think I'm going to get banned.
You can't leave us, Tony.
Yeah.
You can't leave
Oh
us with
no,
the
no, no, no,
Muslims.
that won't happen. So all the accounts. I mean, I've got Top Banana 31, where I'm still waiting for viewers. I mean, after over a week, I've still only got 150 followers on that account, which is most strange because normally within a week I've got 1,000. But for
Mm,
some reason, on that particular account, I've still only got 150 followers. So I don't know whether thousands and thousands of people are leaving TikTok, or if it's a case of the majority of people who are on here are not religious people. I don't know, but it's most strange that that wouldn't already have close to 1,000 followers on it, but it hasn't. It's only got 150, and day by day it only rises by two or three. So at the current rate, it's going to take about 6 years for Top Banana 31 to reach 1,000 and allow me to go live on that. The
mm.
V Vault should come out of the red sometime this month or
Right, that's
June,
good.
sometime in June. Either the 12th of June or the 20th of June, the V Vault should come out of the red
Yeah.
if they remove the restrictions on there after 90 days, like they say they do. But
Mm,
at the moment, you can't guarantee on TikTok doing anything they're supposed to do because they don't seem to be doing that.
mm.
So the V Vault will come out of the red. And of course, Top Banana 80 and Top Banana 2025 are both all up and running, both active. It's just that they both keep getting banned constantly.
Right. Because the sooner you go back live on the Tony Holly one, where you got 5,000 followers, you get more viewers then. Because that's the largest account. I'm gonna promote your
Mm,
videos as well, so I'm gonna tag you in the videos so other people can follow you, and I can put your profile on your YouTube in
mm,
my bio and the story, so
yeah,
I can help you out because I get a lot of viewers now. I post like I don't know, some
yeah, yeah.
just
Well, all three
videos
of
that.
them, as I say, all three of them will be all right.
Mm,
So Top Banana 80, the V Vault, and Top Banana 2025 will grow as well. But as I say, there's not a lot I can do about TikTok continually banning me. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, not really nothing I can do about that at all. I mean,
yeah,
other than of course trying to make sure that I don't say or do anything that gives them the reason to ban me,
yeah.
which basically means I can't turn round ever and say all you Muslims. Because as soon as you say all you Muslims or all you Chinese or all you whatever, that is a ban on TikTok for
Mm.
hate speech.
I don't see that point. Mm.
No, we neither do. That's what I say. It should be. It should be. If you're saying all you, and then you're saying something completely derogatory about all those people, then yes, that should be a ban for hate speech. But
Mm.
if you're saying all you Chinese like Chinese food, then of course no, that shouldn't be a ban because it's not derogatory. It's just a true statement. Chinese like Chinese food. But like I say, according to TikTok, according to their rules, if you do say that, that can be viewed as hate speech and hate behaviour, and they can ban it under their community guidelines. And all I'm saying is, if I was to say, all you Chinese like Chinese food, they would ban it immediately for hate speech and hate behaviour. If
Mm.
another TikTok host was to say the same words, it wouldn't be banned for hate speech and hate behaviour. That's my point. No matter what I say or what I do, they are on me like a ton of bricks and they ban it immediately, regardless. And that's
Mm.
what happened on the last Top Banana 80 ban. That's exactly what I said. All you Muslims think you're so special. That's why they banned it. because I said all you Muslims think you're so special. And if you
Mm,
read through their community guidelines on hate speech and hate behaviour, there is a section that points that out. As soon as you say all you and you mention any particular group, that can be viewed as hate speech and hate behaviour, and they can ban it for hate speech and hate behaviour, regardless,
mm,
as I say, of what you say once you said all you. Whatever you say is immaterial. As I say, it all comes down to the person as well, obviously. If the person saying it, was a nice person like God Logic, who makes them thousands and thousands of pounds all the time,
mm.
then they overlook it, and it's not hate speech and hate behaviour.
No.
When I say it and I don't make them thousands and thousands of pounds straight away, it's hate speech and hate behaviour. That's
Yeah.
the point. So it all
Yeah.
depends on who's actually saying it.
Yeah.
And in my case, that's what I say. It's a ban every time. So I
Mm,
have to be, as I say, extremely careful in what I say in future when I do go back on live.
mm. But
But also, as I say, not only me, I have to also be extremely careful of what other people are saying. Because
mm,
again, you know, in most lives, other people go on there and break the rules, and you know, if as long as they're rejected from the stage within 15, 20 seconds, no action is taken. On my life, as soon as they come on there and start doing it, and unless I can stop that live within 2 seconds, then the live is in danger of being banned.
mm,
Which again, as I say, it's all wrong because it's just me. That's why. So same
mm,
with this YouTube. If this YouTube did ever get up and running, the majority of times YouTube ban people for copyright. They wouldn't be able to do that with me because I wouldn't be showing anyone else's videos. But they do still have other rules as well that they can use to ban you for, like hate speech and hate behaviour. They're not as stringent as TikTok,
mm,
but I'm pretty sure, if I got up and running and had viewers just like other people do, I would get banned again a lot quicker on this because I won't do super chats and I won't do all that other rubbish that,
mm,
the others do that generate loads and loads of money for YouTube.
mm. There's super chat
Obviously,
on TikTok as well.
is there?
Yeah, I think it's you have to pay. So it's like me paying you £10 or £20 a month, and I get gifts and
Oh
like
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's subscription.
yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah,
same with that.
subscription. Yeah, TikTok subscription. YouTube has got subscription as well. You can subscribe on YouTube as well. And again, you get special deals and gifts, and you can view the host can make videos just for the subscribers and things just for the subscriber. Yeah, so all that is on YouTube, but not Super Chat.
Oh,
Super
super.
Chat is just for YouTube. Super chat is when they what they do is they pay you. It can be anything from £1 or $1 usually. So anything from $1, £1, all the way up to 200, 500, $1,000. You see, and then what
Mm,
happens is when you pay that amount, you can type your message in, and your message is highlighted. Yeah. So even if there's like thousands of people in the chat, like it goes really, really quickly. So you can't, all the normal chat, you can't even see what people are saying because it's
no.
going so quick. When it's a highlighted one, you see it immediately. Everyone can see it immediately. And
Mm,
also, the host then, he can then pull up all of the highlighted super chats and go through all of them at any stage, even right at the end, they can still pull them all up and go through them all. And that's what happens. You see, that's what they do because they've got like 3, 4 thousand people, and they're all in the chat, all barking away. All arguing amongst themselves. None of them hardly even listening to what's being said on the stage. Um, if you got super chat and you pay for it, that gets highlighted. And usually at some point during the stream, the host will go through those super chats and read them all out individually. So whatever it was that you said, everyone gets to hear it, and everyone gets to know about it.
Mm.
And
Isn't
that's the
this
super chat on YouTube.
isn't the same way you can turn comments for on TikTok? You can turn on the comment section for the subscriptions as well. So all the people who haven't subscribed to you or haven't got a
Yeah, but on
subscription.
TikTok, if it's just a subscription, all it is just a little thing by the name, isn't it? It's not actually highlighted so everyone can see it.
No, but you can turn the chat off to
Yeah, but
so
that's what I say.
someone.
It's still just like the normal chat still. And then to say again in TikTok, because it's such a smaller screen, you don't need 1,000 people before you can't see what's happening in the chat. You only need 400 people,
Mm,
and then you still can't see what's happening in the chat. Because there's
mm.
only 3 or 4 on the stage at the time, isn't it? On YouTube, you've got like 10 or 15 at a time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But that's what I say. That's the idea of super chat on YouTube. You super chat on YouTube, it highlights it, it picks it out, and the host can also then pick it out and go through it as well, which encourages people. See what I'm saying? Because people want their voice heard.
Yeah.
When you're on a stream where there's 2 or 3 thousand people, your voice is not going to get heard.
No.
You're going to put whatever you say in the chat. No one's even going to see it. It's just going to be totally ignored. And that's what happens. So then when you have super chat, even if you just give £1, that super chat is going to be heard by everybody, or
Mm,
all 3,000 people anyway.
mm.
And so that's
Uh,
what they do. They encourage the super chat so you can encourage to get your voice, whatever it is that you want to say, heard by everybody. And then
mm,
it's spread about everyone.
mm. Oh, TikTok's still taking your gifts money as well. 10% of 15% of your gift money. When people gift you, do they take it?
No, all of them take 30%.
Oh, um,
All of them take a minimum of 30%, but YouTube can take up to 40% on the super chats. But
right.
yes, all of the channels take 30% of any gift, any subscription, anything like that. Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you do on any of the, whether it's Instagram, Facebookless, YouTube, you know, all of them, TikToky, they all take 30% of your subscriptions, of your gifts, of anything and everything that you get through that platform. They take 30% and then leave you with a reminder. But of course, with TikToky, they have another added one as well. I think it's the same with all of them actually, but especially with TikToky, when they ban the live, everything, everything that was received in that live disappears. You don't
Yeah.
get none of it. You don't get a single penny.
Maybe because the reason you're getting banned because you're not making enough money for it. Maybe
Yeah,
that's.
well, it is. Yeah, yeah. Actually, no, not when you get banned. So when you get banned, you still get the 70%. It's when they permanently ban it. When they permanently ban the channel, you end up with niche.
And they get the money.
Yeah, they get it all. Yeah, unless you've managed to empty the account out before they ban it.
Uh, uh,
If you request the money and empty the account out before they ban it, then you get it. But that, as I say, whatever you got from that particular live, that is all lost. So if you've even emptied the account out and you're doing a live and you've earned a couple of £100 on that particular live, and then they permanently ban it, you lost all that couple of £100.
do you?
That's why I think that's why I say TikToky have such a stringent rule on their bans and their permanent bans, because they get they get the whole lot once the permanent ban comes in.
Yeah. Do you believe that's the reason why your account been banned, so they can steal your money?
Yeah. Well, that's why I think TikTok. Yeah, that's why I think TikTok do it so stringently. Yes, they don't give a. They don't. They don't give a single rat's ass about community guideline. And whether people are hurt or not, or whatever.
No.
That's all a load of ball arcs. Basically, they couldn't give a rat's ass. All they want to do is make as much money as possible, the same as any of these social media sort of sites. And as I say, in TikTok's case, the way they're making more money than any of the others is by having such a stringent code where people do keep getting continually banned. And of course, once you have enough continuous bans, they permanently ban you. And as I
Mm,
say, it's at that point there where you get a permanent ban where everything that was in the account and everything that you earn on that particular live that you were doing is all gone. You don't get none of it. So if you've got 300 quid in your account at the time of the ban and you earned 300 quid on that particular live, nearly 500 quid, all gone.
yeah. Mm.
And as I say, if TikTok do that just with 10 accounts, straight away they've earned 5,000 quid just for pressing the permanent ban button on 10 accounts. Not bad money, is it?
No.
No,
But
exactly.
don't it?
And that's why.
Um, but I'll watch you and I'll join the next stream on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Oh,
I mean, I can understand why as well, Gary. There would be. That's what I say. That's why loads of people have moved away from it. I mean, you used to see back in the day, loads and loads and loads of these women, showing certain parts of their body, and obviously they were earning thousands and thousands of pounds from it. They're not there no more. Go through TikTok now. I hardly ever see any of these women anymore sitting there showing their part, because they've moved on to other sites because TikTok do exactly the same thing with them as they do with everyone else. They wait until they've got enough money in their account, and they've earned enough money on their line, and they permanently ban them. And you've got no recourse either. That's the other thing with it. There's no recourse or comeback on it whatsoever. It's trying to speak to TikTok is worse than trying to speak to Muslims.
mm.
So, but anyway, it was supposed to be immigration. This was tonight's topic. Um, Not that it really matters because no one showed up yet again. I thought if I did a topic, that would involve at least 90% of the UK and certainly 90% of Europe, that more than 6 people would show up. How
Mm.
wrong I was. It's amazing, that as I say, it is a huge problem. It's only going to get worse, and yet when 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 lives are sort of done to discuss the problem and discuss, what should be done and should we start closing our borders, should we start sending illegal immigrants back who are breaking the law, no one is turning up to discuss these topics, and yet, yeah, it's just amazing, really. It's it's not surprising why, um, probably it's going to get more and more out of control, and I think we can all say goodbye to Great Britain. To be honest with you, when, as I say, there are things that are set up to discuss it, and more people would rather turn up to watch an American talk to another American about Islam. It says exactly the state of the country, and how bad it is, and why it's that bad when uh, uh, something on social media that directly affects the country, directly affects everybody in the country. And as I say, not just this country, France, Germany, Belgium, Sweden, Holland, all of Europe at the moment, um, is exactly the same thing. The whole lot is facing exactly the same problem, and the whole lot is going to actually fall and crumble all at the same time as well, which is pretty, shameful. I mean, they could already, if they wanted to, overrun France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Holland, Belgium. If they wanted to, they're already in a place to do that. I think they're just waiting to do that until they can overrun the UK as well. As soon as they're in the position to overrun the UK another 10 or so years' time, the whole of Europe will go. The whole lot, all at the same time. France, Germany, Belgium, Spain, Holland, UK, it'll all be Islamic. Um, and as I say, it's worrying and upsetting when people, as I say, who are in those countries would rather sit 2 3 hours on a US, as I say, host panel show, hearing that person discuss Islam in the US. Yeah, amazing, truly amazing. But there you go. Um, Maybe they don't really give a fuck. Maybe they just don't care. Who knows? I don't know. Um, I've said it enough times already. Anyway, I'm so happy. I'm now at an age where in 10, 15 years' time, I'm going to be able to do the same thing as what they're doing now. I don't really care because I'll be virtually ready to pass away anyway, so I really wouldn't care. Um, yeah, there you go. What can you say? I think it's also a case of the majority of them haven't really got a clue, of what they're letting themselves in for. Um, I think that's also, huge case of it. They really don't know, the true extent of how bad Islam can really be, and how degrading and disgusting it can really be, for the majority of people. There literally is, when you bring in things like Islam, literally it is the elite at the very top who are the only benefits of it, and who are the only people who enjoy it. Everyone else suffers in some way from Islam. Um, it's only, as I say, a few people that get benefited by it. Um, and as I say, I think that's another case. Is there's so many people who are starting to realise and who are starting to notice, but they, as I say, they just still do not understand Islam, and the full extent of Islam. Um, yeah, majority of immigrants, Charlie. Yes, the majority of immigrants are coming from Islamic countries. Yeah, um, but the reason for that being because in their own Islamic countries, they're not welcome. You know, even in their own Islamic countries, they don't want these type of people in their own Islamic countries, um, and so that's why the majority of them are coming here from those Islamic countries. It's not all of them. I mean, obviously there are a few as well that are persecuted in their own country for one reason or another. So, for instance, the man who drove over a load of people in Germany just recently, he was a Shia Muslim from Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia is Sunni, he couldn't stay in Saudi Arabia as a Shia Muslim because they are persecuted and subjugated and put down upon, just like a non Muslim is. And so he had to leave his own country, Saudi Arabia, a Muslim country, as a Muslim, to go and live in Germany in peace because he was a Shia Muslim. And that's another part of it. The majority of the ones that come here are either a Shia living in a Sunni or a Sunni living in a Shia. Um, I mean, you've also got, as I say, a lot of Muslims who leave because they just don't like Sharia, and that's understandable. Sharia is a disgusting thing to live under as a law, um, especially if you're a woman or a child. Um, all will go, Matthew. That's the problem. That's the problem. All will be, as I say, it's going to be a lot of people, as I say. I mean, at the moment, the ones that are being affected more than anyone else is the Jews. The Jews that have been in this country, for thousands of years, and a lot of them has benefited this country. They are leaving in their masses at the moment from the UK because they no longer feel safe. And you can't really blame them, really, with what's been happening just lately, with these plasticine marches. Um, and so at the moment, the Jews are being, are going by their thousands. The next group, I think, that will start leaving by their thousands once all the Jews have disappeared will be mainly the young and the rich. The rich and the young, the rich as well. The rich are already leaving in their droves, so the rich are already going. As I say, the Jews are already going, um, and as I say, I think the next huge wave will be the young. The youngsters. I think they'll be all disappearing pretty soon as well. Um, well, again, that's just from the time of Muhammad, Charlie. From the time of Muhammad, um, he I mean, obviously, it all depends on how much you believe in the Islamic narrative, and I don't believe none of it. But under the Islamic narrative, he was chased out of his hometown of Mecca by his own tribe, the Qurayshi, and he went from there to Medina. Medina was mainly Jewish. There were a few Christians there, but mainly it was Jewish. And Muhammad spent, the next 5 or 6 years trying to convince the Jews in Medina that he was a prophet. And of course, the Jews in Medina didn't believe him. And so they made fun of him and laughed at him, basically. And apparently, this is when, he started to get upset at the Jews. And so he then started turning upon the Jews. And instead of trying to, sort of pretend he was a Jew himself and he was with the Jewish God, he turned fully against them and started to attack them. And he also started to get more and more revelation from Allah that the Jews were disgusting, nasty people who had to all be destroyed. uh, you know, and that's basically most of Shura 5 and Shura 9. The last two Shuras to be sent down to Muhammad, they are all basically all about, unaliving all the Jews. And even the Hadiths also state that, the last final battle that Muslims will face is against the Jews before the Day of Judgment, and they will eliminate all the Jews before the Day of Judgment. That's what their hadiths and tafsirs actually say. Every single Jew will be eliminated completely before the Day of Judgment. And that's why they don't like the Jews, because their books, and especially the book from Allah, their God, tells them that they must not like the Jews and that all the Jews must be eliminated. That's why during the 1940s, his biggest supporter were Muslims, because that's exactly what he wanted to do as well. He wanted to eliminate all the Jews. And so he had the full support of all of the Muslims, because that's exactly what they wanted as well, and still do want, And I think this is another thing, that needs discussing more. You're not going to get this sort of thing discussed on BBC News, or Sky News, or GB News, or any of those other channels where they do it for views. I'm more interested in 2,000-3,000 people listening to me than I am in speaking the truth. And if it means I have to tone it right down, and not mention about the hatred for the Jews in the Quran and the Hadith and Tafsir, then I'll stop talking about that part of it in order to get my 2,000 viewers. Um, and as I say, I'm just so dumbfounded how other people can be taken in by this basic bullshit. I can't term it any other way. That's all it is basic bullshit. They sit there and they say all the right words. They talk about all the right things. But when it comes down to the real nitty gritty of it, they just don't want to mention it. When it comes down to the nitty gritty of how, Islam is so totally against every single Jew, it wants to eradicate every single Jew. No one else wants to speak that. Um, Again, similar thing with the child grooming gangs. The only person who's spoken about it and spoken about it with a pair between his legs and in the correct way over the past 20 years is Tommy Robinson. And look what happened to him. They put him in solitary confinement twice for nearly 2 years. And he's the only one who's actually spoken about it properly. This is an Islamic problem. Children being raped on our streets is an Islamic problem because it says it in their damn book from their damn God. Go out, get their little children and rape them and do what you want with them. Turn them into burgers. Turn them into kebabs. And like I say, you're not going to hear that on the other channels because they don't want to hear it. And that's the other problem with it. The people who, should be coming and talking about these sorts of things, um, the people who are affected by it as well, who live in this country, again, if they turned up, then so would the Muslims turn up. And this is the problem with it. Because they don't turn up, the Muslims don't bother turning up. Nothing Nothing will change. It will carry on and it will just get worse and worse and worse and worse. Do you think that our children are going to stop being groped by these people? Do you think they're suddenly going to turn around and say, oh, actually, we are wrong? Our God, our Allah was actually wrong when he said annihilate all the Jews and rape all their children. We should stop doing it. Do people seriously think that's ever going to happen? When for the past 1400 years it hasn't happened yet. And of course, as I say, the other biggest problem with it is the lefty woke, who I don't know. I mean, seriously, I really don't know what to do about the lefty woke. I mean, I can understand their, oh yeah, love everybody, everyone love everyone else, and all live. I can understand that, but what they need to understand is, unfortunately, in that class of everybody living in harmony and peace together, there's one particular group who doesn't want to do that. There's one particular group who wants to dominate. There's one particular group who says, yeah, we would do that, but you do it our way, not your way. And the lefty woke don't really, they get taken in by this group who lie to everybody because this group is telling them, oh, yeah, we want that as well. Yeah, we want to live happily side by side with the LGBTQs, and all you lefty wokies who want to hug a tree and hug a daffodil, we all want that as well. And of course, when it's too late, those lefty woke are going to find out that they were lied to as well. And as I say, it's certainly something that should be discussed and start being discussed more and more, especially in this country. And as I say, the starting point of that is immigration, because the current levels of immigration and the current levels of what countries those immigrants are coming from is going to bring this problem about even quicker. for the UK. Um, I mean, I've said sort of 5, 6 years ago, we're still at least 20 or 30 years away from the problem. And over the last sort of 5 years, that has come down, you know, year by year, by 5 or 10 years, year by year. And as I say, I think we're now less than 5 or 10 years away from it. Um, and as I say, as it goes on with this mass immigration, which isn't stopping, it's continuing. I think, by the time of the next election, which is 3 years away now, you know, 3 to 4 years away, less than that, we could already be at that position where it's too late, where they've taken over. And Islam is now, UK is now an Islamic state under full Sharia law. Because make no bones about it, when they get to that position, it's going to be a quick thing. It's not going to be slowly bit over. It'll be happening overnight. Overnight, it will happen. Women will be forced to wear the full niqab. Schools will be segregated. Everything will be segregated. Men and women. Sharia will be swift and full and implemented quickly. And as I say, it would be, as soon as they get control, which, as I say, could be at the next election in 3, 4 years' time, we're buggered. And as I say, if it isn't in 3, 4 years' time, it will be the 4, 5 years after that at the next election. We're looking at either this coming election or the election after that, where they will take full and utter control. And when they do, it's too late. It's too late then. Far too late. And this is why it needs discussing now, because, as I say, this huge problem of mass immigration is just playing straight into their hands, and it's I don't think, as I say, it's I don't know. I think it might already be too late, to be honest with you. I really do. I think it might already be too late. Um, and I think that's also, something that Dappy Labour has started to realise as well. I think they've realised what a huge mistake they've made, because they definitely pandered to these people. They definitely, overlooked the child rape grooming gangs, mainly from Pakistani heritage, and they definitely, have bowed down to them hook, line, and sinker in order to get their vote and in order to get voted in. And I think they were under the impression, that as long as they continue to do that, they will get voted in again and again and again. And I think they are even now starting to realise what a huge mistake that was. And they also know that when it comes down to the time of the Islamists being in a place where they can take full control, they will do. And Labour will be out of the door as well. Conservatives have already gone. They've already finished. They've already finished them and taken them out of the picture. I mean, this is our two main political parties, don't forget, for the past 100, 200 years. Conservative Labour, Conservative Labour, Conservative Labour. Already one of them's gone, Conservative. They've already finished. All they need to do is destroy Labour, and that's it. And as I say, I think that's already, to be honest with you, already happened. And as I say, if they're not in a position where they can set up their own independent Muslim party at the next general election, um, then I think definitely the one after that they will be, and they'll be in power. And the point with it is once they get in power, forget general elections every 4 or 5 years. There won't be none. There's not an election after that. Once they get in power, that's it. The only way you remove them is with the end of a gun. You don't remove them any other way. There's no democracy. There's no voting. There's no re-voting every 5 years. Yeah, I am still on TikTok, Trevor, but I'm currently banned because everyone doesn't like the truth at the moment, unfortunately. It's basically highly illegal for anybody to speak the truth about anything anymore. If you speak about immigrants, you have to, yellow coat it just the same as everything else, whitewash it. If you same with religion. If you speak about religion, you have to whitewash it. Everything has to be whitewashed. If you speak about child grooming gangs, it all has to be whitewashed. And there's a reason for that. That's what I say. The reason for that is exactly the same reason all the way through. Immigration, same reason. Child grooming gangs, same reason. Religion, same reason. Because Islam wants to take over. And they are in such a position where they are so close to taking over, they know that the only thing that can stop them at the moment is people speaking out against it with the truth, with a pair of bollocks, and waking everyone else up to the threat. It's amazing that when you can see the decline, you can see what's happening, and it's very difficult, especially as I say when there are so many people who's totally against it. Um, Tommy Robinson, top bloke, Trevor. He's as I say, he's been trying to fight this fight for the past 20 years on his own, single handedly, and look where it's got him. It's got him 2 prison sentences in solitary confinement for nearly 2 years for doing nothing, just for trying to teach people, um, your children are going to end up getting raped. He said 20 years ago, this is going to be a problem. And he was right. Yeah, exactly. He was dead right about everything he said. And as I say, we need more people at this moment in time now to stand up and talk about this problem exactly how it is. Fuck the politicians. Fuck all those fucking left wing bollock wankers. We need people to stand up and say the Quran tells Muslims to kill every single Jew. The Quran commands them to kill every single Jew. The Quran commands Muslims to go and rape our children and turn them into kebabs. I mean, as I say, it's time to stop pussyfooting around, and it's time to start, speaking the truth about this bollocks. To be honest with you, because as I say, the country's getting taken over and overrun by these idiots, and I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that something like this can be happening right under our noses, and we're allowing it. We're allowing it to happen by inviting these people in, giving these people houses, giving these people all our money. We're paying them to take over our country. It's fucking crazy, really. It's so stupid. It's unreal. Um, and as I say, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, what the answers are. But there needs to be some answers, and there needs to be some action to deal with this problem now, because it is a huge problem. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse and bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, you know, um, And well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know anymore what else to do. Um, as I say, it's amazing how um, this problem has been covered up for so long, and it's still being covered up. That's the point. I mean, look at one of the first things Tommy Robinson said. One of the first things he said is he's now going to go and expose the problem with the child grooming gangs and Labour. Why does he need to expose that? Can anybody please tell me that? Why do we need Tommy Robinson, who's been talking about this problem for the past 20 years, to expose exactly what happened with all those tiny children being raped, ruined, destroyed by Pakistani Muslim men, and it all being covered up by Labour so that they could get into power? Why? Why do we need somebody to tell us that when it's right in front of our fucking boat race? Clearly. So clearly. The exact same people who covered it up for 20 years, allowed them to do it so that they could get in power, are now in power. And those same people are now doing everything they can to still cover it up and say no inquiry. And we're all sitting back, twiddling our thumbs, saying, oh, yeah, okay, that's good. Carry on. For fuck's sake. It's seriously, it's, it's beyond a fucking joke. It really is beyond a fucking joke. And meanwhile, our children are still being fucking raped. And meanwhile, the people who covered it up are now in the top fucking jobs in the world, earning fucking 800 and 900,000 fucking pound a week that we are fucking paying them for. Unfortunately, I seem to have got a little bit emanated, which I didn't really want to do. But there you go. You know, it's so frustrating, as I say, when you can see the huge problem and the huge problem that has been basically orchestrated by the people who are currently in power now and leading us. You know, without a doubt, these people who are now currently in power for the past 20 years have made this problem, and everything, the mass immigration, the mass uncontrolled immigration, still being part of the ECHR, even though we left blaming Brexit 15 years ago. So we should no longer be a part of the ECHR. Why is the human courts, ruling us and telling us who we can kick out and who we can't kick out? Can anybody tell me that? Why? When we left Europe 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, why are we still being covered by their courts? Shall I tell you why? Because it's the European Courts of Human Rights. Who was the main human right protagonist 23 years ago? Our current leader, Keir Starmer. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Who made all his money out of human rights? Our current leader, Keir Starmer. Who's the one who says we shouldn't leave the Human Rights European Court? Our current leader, Keir Starmer. Gosh, oh, seriously, it's it's frustrating. It's maddening. It's just crazy. And yet you got Lucy Connolly, Peter Lynch. I can't remember the names of the other people. There's at least two or three other people. Tommy Robinson, you know, and they're being given jail sentences of 2 and 3 years just for saying, I don't like this situation no more. You know, I don't like this mass immigration no more. Why should we be paying for these massive? Why should they be jailed for 3 years for saying that? Because the rest of us are sitting on our arse not saying it, even though that's exactly what we all want to say. Seriously, I'm fearful, to be honest with you. I'm fearful of how this is going to end, because I can see as well, that this can go more than one way. Um, this can go the way that the Islamists want it to go, where they take full control of the country without any bother or fight or fuss or whatever. They just walk in next election or the election after, get their party in, vote their party into the main government, and then start changing all the rules into a Sharia. And as I say, uh, obviously it's not going to be peaceful because nothing like that ever is, and obviously there's going to be more Lucy Connollys, more Peter Lynch's, and more Tommy Robinsons ending up in prison and staying there for a long time for doing nothing. There's also going to be a lot of people disappearing, strangely disappearing with no explanation or whatever where they've gone. And so, but generally on the whole, that the main mass population will be perfectly safe. All they need to do is convert to being a Muslim, walk around in a black bin bag, walk around with your bed sheet, and just keep saying Hallelujah Akbar every 5 seconds, and you'll be perfectly fine. And that's the one scenario where it's changes quite peacefully. But then we've got the other scenario, which is basically what's happened in the majority of Middle Eastern countries, and probably is still happening at the moment in Syria, which is the best example I can give. Well, currently in Syria, you have 5 or 6 different factions all fighting for control. You have the Syrian army, you have the Syrian People's Army, you have the Islamic Army, you have the Sunni army, the Shia army, and you've got the Russians trying to get in there and get their bit, and other things all there, all trying to, and 6 or 7 different factions all fighting against each other. And I can see the UK being exactly the same as that, to be honest with you. Scotland, they'll have 2 or 3 different factions all fighting each other in Scotland. England will have 4 or 5 different factions all fighting each other in England. Wales will have 2 or 3 factions fighting, and Ireland will have 2 or 3 factions fighting in Ireland. So for the whole of the United Kingdom, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England, you're looking at 5 England, 2 Scotland, 7, 2 Wales, 9, and say 2 in Ireland. That's 11. 11 different factions all fighting for control. And sadly, that's not going to be a benefit to anybody, to be honest with you. You know, um, of course, again, I mean, like Syria, because Russia is so close to Syria and Turkey, they're getting involved in who takes control of Syria because it's so close to their countries. The nearest country to England, other than France and Spain, of course, is America. So, of course, whatever starts to kick off in this country will also involve America. They they will also be getting involved. Um, and to be honest with you, I'm really, really fearful of the situation, and how it's going to play out. Um, as I say, the only thing I am happy about is that I'm so old that so what? Whatever happens in the next 5 or 10 years, if it's all out anarchy or whether it's just partial anarchy, and a lot of whitewashing as we see now, so what? You know, I'm so old I don't really give a tot, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of people in this country who are of an age and who are of an age with family as well, younger families, who should be more interested and who should care what is happening and what is going to happen in this country. But who knows? It looks like they don't really care, you know. Um, Obviously not, because again, none of them have turned up here. Um, Another reason why I did this is because the last few videos I did on immigration, which was I think 2, 3 weeks ago, I was getting quite a few comments where people were telling me, "Can you please do this again? Can you please do this again?" So I thought, okay, you know, maybe people do want to talk about it now. So let's do it again. But let's not only do it again, immigration in UK, let's expand it so it's immigration in Europe. And let's also pre-warn people 2, 3 days in advance that I'm going to do it. That way, at least 200, 300 people should show up and we can have a decent discussion about it. Ah, wrong. I was wrong again. No one wants to discuss it. No one on the loony left wants to turn up and discuss it. No one from government wants to discuss it. No one from the so called far right wants to discuss it. No one from the centre wants to discuss it. No one in France wants to discuss it. No one in Germany wants to discuss it. No one in Belgium or Holland wants to discuss it. No one in Spain or Italy wants to discuss it. And certainly no one in the UK wants to discuss it. Wow. All I can say is, wow. Well, not a lot more I can do there, folk. I mean, I wasn't going to stay here an hour and 12 minutes. I did get sidetracked at the beginning by Joshua talking about Tiki Toki, which I didn't really want to talk about here. Um, I did want to just stick to the topic of immigration, and, you know, have a good discussion about it with 6 or 7 other people on the stage, but that didn't turn out to be the case. So I'm going to end it now, folks. There's not really a lot more I can add, you know, um, other than mass immigration needs to stop, illegal immigration needs to stop. We need to start sending all the illegals back to France. We need to start sending back all the criminals. Again, I don't care where, just get rid of them. They're not our problem. They shouldn't be here if they're coming here to commit crime. The prisons are full, the prisons are overstretched, and that needs sorting out. And again, it's only going to get sorted out by sending all these foreign criminals away and back. Um, we need to leave the ECHR immediately. I mean, there's so many things, so many. The list is huge, and more than anything, we need to start discussing this topic. So, yeah, well, uh, not a lot more I can do. God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. I'm going to continue to try to keep getting this topic discussed. I will try this again. I don't know when, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. Love one another. Um, think about moving. That's the best I can tell you. If you're 20 or 30 years old, or even less than 40, think about moving to a different country. Iceland, that's quite a good country to pick. I don't think there's many Muslims in Iceland. Poland, Poland apparently seems to be doing all they can to keep them out at the moment. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. And of course, because of the size of it and the fact that you're allowed to bear arms, the states, you know, that's about the best I can tell you at the moment, folks. But definitely at the moment, what I'm seeing in the UK is get out, get out as quickly as you can because it's gone, mate. It's gone. It's fallen, and no one seems to really give two tots. So God bless you. Peace of Christ for you all. Thank you for coming, all five of you. God bless you.